Welcome to another episode of the Complete Performance Exercise Breakdown, where I take different exercises and break down the technique, give you some cues to master your form, and help you avoid pain and injury through training. Today I'm going to start into a 5-part squat series to break down different types of squats to help progress you into a back squat using a barbell. Because some of us are maybe looking to progress our squats and to challenge our movements in different ways, but you have to master that technique first. So I'm going to start today. This is the next level up from a bodyweight squat. Of course we need to master that body weight and moving our body without any resistance first. So today we're going into a counterbalance squat. A counterbalance squat is great for a few reasons. One being, it teaches you just how to move in a squat pattern with some weight, because you're progressing from body weight, adding some resistance without it being too challenging on our spine. The second is, it teaches you how to engage the core throughout the movement, because a lot of times we go right into adding weight that's very close to our body, whether that be on our back, in our front, that we forget or we're not sure of how to properly engage that core. The last is it teaches you how to kind of move as one unit, because you allow your plate to drop, or you allow your hips to shift in a different position. The movement is going to be very difficult to perform. So let's get to counterbalance squats. First thing you need is a light plate. This is a 15. It needs to be something that you can hold out at a shoulder distance height. Okay, arms are straight, elbows are locked out. Now let's get into stance. With a counterbalance stance, you might be a little bit narrower than you would be with a typical barbell back squat. Okay, but one thing that I like to be sure of is that it has to be your optimal stance. If you're in here and you're uncomfortable and you feel like your knees are caving in, then take it out a notch and turn those toes out just slightly. So I'm going to be in this position. I'm going to lock my elbows up at the top, and I'm going to push my knees up out and lower my hips down, let my knees travel just above or in front of those toes, and drive back up. Staying chest up and relatively neutral throughout the entire movement, I'm going to drive through those heels to stand back up. Now, that might be tough for you at first, and that's okay. That's where this bench comes into play. You're going to stand in front of a bench and use that as your opportunity to lower and to stay chest upright and spine neutral. Here, sit down onto that, touch back, and drive back up. Notice my chest stays up the whole time, and I'm not losing that core engagement. Big things or errors that I see with this is it comes primarily in where that weight gets held. A lot of times we're here and we start to let that chest and that head drop, which then makes that plate drop. If you get to the bottom, whether you're using a bench or not, and that angle of your arms is now downward, or you're able to see the floor, that means that you didn't engage the top of that core or that upper back like you need to. So really focus on keeping that core tight, seeing and looking at a point. If you have the plate in front of you, keep that plate and elbows out from your shoulders. Last kind of common mistake that I see with this is it all of a sudden becomes a very hip dominant movement. By nature, squats are knee dominant, okay? But when we add this weight here, in order to perform the movement, I see a lot of pushing the hips back this way. We want to open up the knees, push the knees forward slightly while pushing the hips straight down. The knees are what travel, the hips travel straight up and down. So if I'm in this position, I'm here, opening up my knees, sitting down into the squat and driving back up. This concept of opening up your knees and opening up your hips is great for moving into those other progressions. So master that technique. Grab a 15, grab a 10, something light enough that you can hold out here. The limiting factor will be your shoulders. And practice engaging the core, opening the hips and knees, driving through the floor so that you can move in to next week's progression of a squat.